Hello and welcome to the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show. I'm your host, Corey Sievers, and in this particular session, we're going to be delving into, in the healthy side of things, are you making these 13 anti-aging mistakes? And we'll be looking at internal and external signs of aging and some things and tips that you can do to stack the odds in your favor. In Wealthy, we'll be talking about 10 secrets for success from 5 self-made billionaires, and really just looking at the lessons that their journey has taught them. In Wise, we'll be going through some goal-setting tips. So 13 tips for setting smart goals. So all that and more in this session of the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show. So congratulations for joining in. If you've just joined us, it's Corey Sievers here on behalf of the Savvy team, and welcome to the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show. And it's great to be back for the show. We had to take a bit of a breather last week, and that's because I was invited to speak for the launch of a technology that we use. It's it's one of the products that we use in our body transformation challenge. It's a world first combo of 2 technologies, and I was asked to just speak on that and to share with the community, and so that was really a really great pleasure to be able to do that. So we had to skip the show, but we are back again with lots to share. This time more from the external side of things. We'll be dealing with internal anti-aging to a certain degree, but we'll be dealing with the 13 anti-aging mistakes that most people make. So if you have just joined us, that's what we're dealing with in Healthy. In Wealthy, we'll be dealing with 10 tips from 5 self-made billionaires. Yep, forget the millionaires. We'll just see what lessons their journey can teach us, I guess, mere mortal. And what's exciting about this particular topic is that they're all mere mortals. They're all self-made. They didn't inherit their wealth. They're self-made. Amazing stuff. So we can learn lots from that. And then in Wise, we'll be talking about goal setting. There's no doubt that those who set goals simply achieve more out of their life. And we'll be talking about 13 tips in that particular area. So all that and more. So we'd love to know, of course, if you're just joining, where you're coming in from. If you're brand new, then do let us know in the comments. Let us just type new, and so that we can know that it's your first time here on the show. What else do I need to tell you about? I'm sure there was something else. We might just jump on into it all here. So if you have any comments and questions, of course, do ask as we go along. We'd love to be able to answer your questions and do all that sort of good stuff. So, all right. I think I've said enough of that. I don't know, ran out of words somehow. That's not like me. Anyway, let's get underway with the healthy side of things. And, of course, we're always open for anything that you want to know about. We're here to educate and inform you on all of the different, all sorts of different aspects of health and well-being. So, congratulations for tapping in. We've got all sorts of things planned too. So keep an eye out. So first of all, if you are new to what we do here in the Savvy team, we're all about helping you enjoy improved health and lifestyle. And so when you connect in with our community, you'll have access to step-by-step action plans, innovative solutions, and all the guidance and support that you need in order to reach your wellness goals and really live life to the full, as we like to say. And so we have a whole range of wellness plans, something there for you, no doubt. And so our intention is to inspire you, to motivate and guide you to a higher level of wellness. And so, of course, since we're talking about health, well-being, all that sort of thing, do pay attention to this particular important notice. Everything we'll be sharing is for educational purposes only, so shouldn't be interpreted as medical advice. So lots of stuff to share. It's all on anti-aging and looking after the skin. Now, we hosted a live session in our private Facebook group, the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise group, on this topic, on the 13 anti-aging mistakes that many people make. And we went through some of the solutions that we recommend. It was a much more in-depth session than what we'll be covering here. But if you want to follow up and you're looking for some of the solutions that we use and recommend here in the Savvy team, then hit us up for an invite into the Healthy Wealthy Wise group. So you can either message us, comment below, message your Savvy Team Wellness Guide and ask them for an invite. In fact, that's if you know somebody already that's involved with our community, that's probably one of the fastest ways in. They can just invite you straight in. So it's like laying out the red carpet, isn't it? So anyway, so let's jump on into these 13 ways, these 13 anti-aging mistakes that most people make. So if I can get to the buttons. Alrighty, we must be ready to go. So good question here. Are you making these particular 13 anti-aging mistakes? And we'll see, just tally them up as we go along. Maybe that might give you a little bit of an idea about how your skin is faring under the pressures. So I'll throw in a bonus mistake here because yes, it's me. I was perhaps like the many typical males many years ago, and I didn't think that I didn't really use skincare. I used skincare for a while when I had problem skin when I was younger, and then sort of didn't do much with my skin for a while, and then sort of got back into it, really to overcome the acne, scarring, and problem skins again. And so that sort of turned me into somebody that's a bit perhaps more educated on skincare topics than the average male, but certainly working in the wellness arena and working with a lot of women, I've learned a trick or two about looking after the skin. So a bonus mistake for you fellas out there, and that is thinking that all of this is just for the girls. All right, so it's a lot more than just for the girls. So we really believe here in the Savvy team how old you are. That's your business. We don't need to know, but how young you look and feel, that is certainly our passion. And so looking forward to sharing these tips with you. All right, so mistake number one is obviously, you could say a little bit maybe but not having an anti-aging regime or regimen. Now, many people may say, well, I've tried it all, nothing seems to work. Well, a lot of the times this is the challenge. People try things for like a week or whatever, and there's not enough time to work. So if that's your excuse, then busted, because it can take at least a couple of months for many ingredients to actually have their impact on the skin. But with consistency comes the visible results. And so if you've been looking for products that market themselves as, visible difference in, this many minutes or whatever, that can happen. We're working with some technology that shows a visible difference and yet is safe, the visible difference in just one particular application. Noticeable photographic before and after difference. So, with the advances of modern technology, certainly we can see very quick results, but obviously results continue as you apply whatever particular solution that you're using. So again, consistency is the key, and that's what it's like, related to any skincare topic as well. So definitely worthwhile having some sort of a skincare regimen. So people get caught up in the notion, though, of these miracle ingredients and expect the dramatic results overnight. But just like anything, whether it be saving, looking after your health, building a business, it's the consistency that counts. So invest in your skin no matter what your age. That would be the number one recommendation right up front. So if you're not doing that, that would be mistake number one, right? So number two is not cleansing and exfoliating effectively. So many people say that I don't exfoliate because my skin's too sensitive or whatever, or, I don't use cleansers because I have dry skin. Well, busted. In order to soften and cleanse and get rid of dead skin cells, you do need to use cleansers and exfoliants and everything, and that really helps to soften wrinkles and brighten the skin. However, yes, I would agree, you want to avoid many of the aggressive scrubs on the market that can lead to redness and irritation. And so if you've tried products that are very exfoliants, that are very gritty, maybe they have ground up. And this is the challenge with a lot of so-called natural products. People want to get into natural and organic without understanding the disadvantages of those sorts of things, meaning that they're ground up walnut shells, for example, or that might be natural, but it can actually damage the surface of the skin and create irritation and redness. So you don't want to do that. Now, it's interesting that I saw a particular journalist who decided, well, enough of these exfoliants and cleansers are of no value and everything. So she went 21 days without washing her face. And she said when she looked at it and then had it examined under a microscope, look at all these sorts of things, she said, the experts are correct. I'll be washing my face twice a day, and I will never be going to sleep without removing my makeup after looking at what happened to her skin, and also looking at it under a microscope and seeing the sort of craziness that was going on. So that's mistake number 2, not cleansing and exfoliating effectively. And certainly we, here in the Savvy team, we recommend safe cleansers and exfoliants, things that don't damage and scratch your skin. So they're more of a roll, release, and polish impact. So much gentler and safe for those with dry skin, very effective for those with oily and combination skin, blackheads, all those sorts of things. So if that's been a troublesome area for you in the past, then certainly reach out to us and we'll be glad to point you in the right direction. And mistake number 3 is skipping protection from environmental factors. So obviously, we're broadcasting here from Australia, and the biggest environmental factor that we have here is UV damage. So certainly exposure to UVA rays is one of the biggest culprits behind aging, and that does happen all year long, so not just when you're out in the sun. And yes, in the colder climates, it still happens for you too, because UVA exposure is still there. And if you sit inside, inside a window whenever, you're still getting UVA damage. Easiest way, it's a bit of a generalization. UVA rays age you, okay? UVB rays are B for beneficial and burning. So yeah, UVB is where you get the vitamin D from. And so that's why you don't get that inside the window. It's blocked by the windows. You don't get it at certain times of year. But UVB rays are also the rays that can burn you. So, and so they're also the ones that are often blocked, B for blocked, by some sunscreens that are not broad spectrum. And so some of these sunscreens block the burning and the beneficial rays, but then let the harmful aging and cancer-causing UVA rays to get into the deeper levels of the skin. So again, if you're using sunscreen, you want a safe, broad spectrum sunscreen. Many of our community members use the ones that we recommend all year round, really just for the anti-aging benefits. But beyond just sun protection, the environment is also the pollution that's out there. So if you're living in a city and everything, there are some of the latest research shows that it's the environmental factors of pollution that are actually having the aging effect on our skin. And so again, you're looking for protection from that as well. And your natural antioxidants in the skin will help protect you from that to a certain degree. Having an antioxidant-rich diet will help to a certain degree. But also there are some solutions such as actually healthy skin probiotics and botanical ingredients that can protect your skin from the impact of the environmental pollution, the free radical damage that can occur on the surface of the skin that can age you faster. So again, if you want more information on that, that's all in our Healthy Wealthy Wise group. So we went through this in a lot more detail, so just request an invitation. We can point you in the right direction. So mistake number 4 is rubbing and tugging on tired eyes. and also not nourishing this particular delicate area. So if you're tired all the time, often what you can do, when people are tired or they're suffering from visual eye strain, is you rub your eyes. You just think about it and everything. And so that's another thing, look at some of the suggestions that we have for looking after your eye health. Visual eye strain in this day and age is very, very real. So there are certain supplements that can help you to optimize your eyes, things such as lutein and bilberry and these sorts of nutrients. But also blue blocker glasses that screen some of the blue light, putting the filters on your mobile device so that it goes more yellow at nighttime. Those sorts of things really can help with visual strain. But if you're rubbing your eyes because of the visual strain, then what can happen is that pulling at your eyes can break the tiny capillaries and cause the delicate skin around the eye to darken. And so that can really exacerbate the dark circles under your eyes and just the general darkness in your eye socket area. So especially as you mature. So as you mature, the skin thins and it can become very noticeable around the eyes. And so when you rub your eyes, it further breaks up these vessels and can make the dark circles and wrinkling and even the bags a bit worse, if you have any bags. So often, what dermatologists have seen is that when you stop the habit of rubbing your eyes and touching your eyes and tugging at your eyes, you can actually look younger in 2 to 4 weeks without any additional, product solutions. But certainly you want to nourish this particular area of the eyes, and there are some, for example, antioxidant type gels make a huge difference to that particular eye area. And we'll be dealing with some of the problem issues a bit later on. So one of the issues too is if you haven't dealt with your food allergies, for example. So we have epigenetic testing that uses the hair follicle that looks for intolerances, but not particularly the allergies. But, so for example, if you're allergic to or intolerant to, say, wheat, dairy and other things such as maybe some chemicals, nightshades and everything, even though you may not feel the issues that relate to it like an actual allergy, the dark circles and bags under your eye can be commonly referred to as allergic shiners. And it's just that underlying allergy, that underlying issue that you're not that your body's not coping. It can also, dark circles under their eyes can also indicate overloaded detoxification pathways too, such as your liver and your kidneys. So drinking more water, doing a periodical detox, more green smoothies and less things like less sugar, fruit, alcohol, chemicals, all that sort of thing. Looking at the Eat Savvy diet, which is our free dietary philosophy. They can all make a difference to dark circles and everything around the eye area. Mistake number 5 is not targeting the specific problem areas that you face. Okay, so here is an article that from a dermatologist that covered the 5 things that can make you look older than you really are, and they said it's dull skin. Okay, so having sort of dull, pasty skin from not cleansing and exfoliating properly. So again, if that's your issue, then we want to target that particular issue. Dry looking skin, so it sort of looks crepey and dry. Okay, and sometimes that can happen even in quite young people. It just looks dehydrated and sort of and dried out and not healthy. And so that can make you look older than you are. And we have more tips on that, because what we need to do often is hydrate the skin, not put more oil back into it, but actually put the moisture into the skin. Number 3, brown spots. The brown pigmentation can make you look a lot older than you really are. So dealing with that with, for example, antioxidant-like gels that help with the melanin pigmentation, that can be really helpful. The puffy eye bags, no matter what your age, you can have puffy under eye bags. Drinking too much alcohol, not getting enough sleep, those sorts of things. So you can use particular products to directly target that particular area and tighten up the skin. And then, as I said, the dark under eye circles that also can make you look aged. And sometimes that's just by not looking after your general health. So, again, what's reflected in your skin and your body is what's going on inside. So, when we're dealing here with these anti-aging things, a lot of people can switch off and think, oh, I don't care how I look, I'm more interested in health. Well, that's interesting, because if you look vibrant and your skin looks good and your hair looks good and your nails are healthy, that means you're looking after yourself internally. So you just think about it here. If your body is very intelligent, it's like a bit of it's like an emergency room, a lot of triage going on. And so if it says, I wonder what we should do here. Should we nourish the collagen? We've got limited vitamin C going on, no antioxidants here, and Buggerlugs isn't even eating the right foods and everything. Should we look after the collagen fibers in the heart vessels, or should we do the skin? What do you think? Let's take a vote here. The body's going to vote for looking after the most important internal organs, and your skin, nails, and hair will suffer. So if you have brittle nails, unhealthy breaking hair, your hair's split ends and hair's falling out and your skin's blotchy and everything, they're all warning signs. They're all warning signs that something internal is going on. So what we need to do is then go from the inside, heal you from the inside out, and then you'll look better and you'll feel better too. So not targeting those problem areas. That was a little bit of an off-topic rant on those 5 problem areas, but what we're going to do now is actually look at what surveys said were the 10 most common signs of aging skin that bothered them. Number 1 was crow's feet. And they're the wrinkles around the corners of the eyes. They can be caused by smiling and squinting and all that sort of thing. Crow's feet do tend to form earlier than other types of wrinkles. The respondents said that eye bags and wrinkles around their eyes were the things that bothered them the most, were the second common thing that bothered them. And so, again, wrinkles can appear around your eyes, between your eyelids, and all these sorts of things. So these are noticeable beginning signs of aging, and you can look after these areas and help them to look a bit better. Number 3 was age spots. Okay, so the discoloration that, it's commonly called age spots, but, really it's an exposure to UV rays, it's toxicity in the body, it's the liver being overloaded. That's why they can call it liver spots, for example. It's basically an example of free radical damage to your skin. And we routinely have people, start on nutritional programs, using antioxidants and trace minerals, and then they weren't even caring about their skin, but then 6 months down the track, they say, oh my God, the brown spots on my face and on the back of my hands are gone. So again, the nice side effect, really, that's that healing, really, of the damage. Laugh lines. People said that laugh lines were an issue for them, and so officially these are nasolabial folds, and and they can be very deep and make it very, I guess they're exacerbated by repeated facial expressions and movement and etc. And it can make you feel, again, look older than you really are. Droopy eyelids, people said, disturbed them, and so this is pretty self-explanatory. So as I said before, the skin on your eyelids is extremely thin, and certainly it's certainly common for women as they age to develop droopier eyelids. And again, we'll be talking about collagen. This is simply that we have our collagen has depleted as the years have gone by. So if we can sort of rejuvenate the collagen levels in the body and increase collagen synthesis by having all the right antioxidants and nutrients that our body needs, then it may not rejuvenate the eyelids, but it certainly helps things to look better. Wrinkles on the neck and décolletage. So again, the area around your neck and, ladies, above your breasts is notoriously thin. This is the décolletage or décolletage. area, and so if you tend to be sleep on your side, sunbathe, all these sorts of things that can also increase the wrinkles in that particular area too. So neglecting that area is it can make you look older than you are. Frown lines as well, so they can be an issue. And by the way, frown lines can also there's studies around a science known as personology that relates to your personality based on the lines on your face. There's also studies that look at, not studies, but belief systems that look at the creases mean have relative relevance to internal organ health as well. So, for example, I think it's believed that one big line in the center of the nose is liver stress, for example. Two means something different, all those sorts of things. So, forehead wrinkles and furrows. Then there's the loose skin on the cheeks and jawline, and all of these, and even then crepey skin. So these are the things that people complained about. So they're obviously the things that we most want to target if you're wanting to look more youthful. Next, we're moving on to the mistake number 6, and this is oiling but not hydrating your skin. Okay, so moisturizers moisturizers work in a couple of different ways, and firstly, I guess no matter what skin type you have, everyone can suffer from skin dehydration. You might have dry skin and it feels dry, but you can tend towards oily skin and it still feels dry and dehydrated. And then you end up with that overproduction of sebum because of the fact that your skin is dehydrated. So moisturizers generally work in a couple of different ways. Many prevent water loss by coating the skin in an oil-based or oily sort of substance that essentially sort of replicates the natural sebum of the skin. Okay, what should be already there, but often we strip it off with the wrong types of cleansers. But common store-bought brands include things that create this film like petroleum, mineral oil, even lanolin, these sorts of things. And so lanolin is a very natural ingredient. The problem is, it's natural, it's great. The problem is it can clog the skin. The secondary issue is extracted from the wool of sheep and everything, and they're dipped in many, like they have all of these chemicals that are put on them. And so basically there's no requirement for any of the chemical residues to be extracted, vacuum stripped from the lanolin. So you're getting all these potentially carcinogenic impurities coming along for the ride with the supposedly natural product. So, we tend to encourage you to avoid typical lanolin, mineral oil for sure, baby oil, all these sorts of things. While it's effective, it certainly can clog the skin and cause problems in the long run. And as I said, can contain potentially carcinogenic impurities as well. So other products like propylene glycol attract moisture because they're humectants. So that's all very well if you're in a moist environment. They're designed to sort of attract moisture from the environment to the surface of your skin, making your skin feel more moist. But if you're in a drier climate, what they do is it attracts the moisture from below the skin to the surface of the skin, thus, in essence, drying your skin out from the inside out, actually artificially dehydrating your skin. Now, the trick in the technology here that's very good for those selling these products with propylene glycol is that you use the product and you go, oh, my skin feels so good and smooth. And then when you don't use it, you go, oh my God, my skin is so dry. I need some more of that stuff. And you go, that's better. Well, that's because of the propylene. That's the propylene glycol at work there. It's dehydrating your skin, wanting you to use more. It's almost like your skin's addicted to the propylene glycol. We could liken it to that sort of an example. So, and again, it comes from a chemical that's really a byproduct of the petroleum refining industry. So not a great solution over time. So, You want to put more moisture back into the skin. So hydrating mists, moisture, moisturizing types of ingredients that are more liquid rather than oil based and everything. Drinking more water, of course, really important. But again, we work with technology that increases the skin hydration from the inside out. So we, affectionately say drinking your skincare. In fact, we've seen dramatic reduction in dryness without the use of topical moisturizers, and that's in clinical studies. So again, what we really want to do is we want to improve the moisture retention properties of the skin, not artificially hydrate the surface of the skin with chemicals such as propylene glycol. So mistake number 7 is ignoring sun damage and photo aging. So again, we want to protect, this can make you look older, and it can, of course, end up developing into sunspots and all that sort of thing. So we want to do what we can to be able to nourish the skin and look after the skin there. So that's not to say that we don't believe in avoiding the sun. Avoiding being out in the sun too long and at the wrong time and sunburn, of course. But we actually want to get some sensible sun exposure, because optimizing your vitamin D levels will also prevent aging and disease. Okay, and so we're seeing, even in cultures where there's ample sunlight, vitamin D deficiency diseases because of the fear of the sun rather than understanding it. Okay, so it's learning to use it. The sun, drowning in the ocean and getting burnt and frazzled from the sun, that's again not understanding the environment and working with the environment. Okay, so learn to work with the environment for your best all-round health. So mistake number 8 is going to bed without a nighttime skincare regime. Naughty, naughty. I mean, really. Ladies, who would do that? Who would go to bed with their makeup still on? So don't say that you're too tired to go to bed. It takes a couple of minutes, and it will help you to look fresher faced in the years to come. See, sleeping with the dirt, oil, fellas, it's the same for you, for example, but makeup, it can then grind the material into the pores of the skin and cause acne and enlarged pores. And so it's essentially, you're in essence damaging and sort of scarring the skin on a micro level. And so you definitely want to avoid that. So don't do it. Naughty, naughty. Mistake number 9 is neglecting your neck, chest, and hands. Many people look after their face, and it's sort of like we look after it down to here, and then unfortunately, the neck area and the back of the hands can and the chest area can be the things that make you look older than you really are, or than you could look. And so don't think of your skincare regime as finishing here. Think about taking it down further and putting, at least rubbing it onto the back of your hands and all that sort of thing. And there are some specific types of products that we work with that are very good for the delicate area on the back of the hands, for example, and the neck, and very good for the sun damage and sunspots that often occur in those sorts of areas, because they're often exposed constantly to UV damage, as is, our head and all this sort of thing. So don't neglect your neck, chest, and hands. Mistake number 10 is not taking supplements to optimize your skin health and not drinking enough water. Okay, so I'm going to show you some before and after pictures here of one journalist who said that drinking 3 liters of water took 10 years off her face, and she was in her 40s. She was hoping to solve headaches and poor digestion, so obviously she had the manifestations of what we call blocked detox pathways. Our easiest 1, 2, 3 philosophy is decrease chemical and toxin exposure, increase nutrition from all sources, and then optimize the body systems. And some of the body systems that we believe in is looking at your body's natural detoxification pathways. And so, that's what was happening for her, headaches and poor digestion and all that sort of thing. But this is what she said. She said, I genuinely can't believe the difference in my face. And this is free. This is drinking more water. I would get the free Eat Savvy diet. Won't cost you anything. Start to change your diet. Optimize your diet for long-term well-being, and your skin will look better. Drink more water. Your skin will look better. Then if you want some of the solutions that we work with to really up the ante, come on into our Healthy, Wealthy, Wise group. We'll show you some of the things that we work with, and we'll take it from there. But we're really here to help you with the general all-round well-being, and that will reflect in your face as well. Anyway, I digress. So what she said, Sarah said that I genuinely can't believe the difference that it made in my face. I feel like a different woman, and I believe I look like a different woman. The dark shadows around my eyes have all but disappeared. The blotchiness in my skin has gone. My skin is almost as dewy as when I was a child. I believe the transformation is nothing short of remarkable. I feel leaner. I feel fitter, which is amazing too. And the only thing I changed is the amount of water I drink. Whatever happens, I'm going to be keeping water with me everywhere during the day. And I would advise every woman to do the same. Checking with your doctor, of course. So there you go. So another thing on this, when we're talking about supplements and everything, one of the biggest issues is low-fat diet. So many people jump, long-term low-fat diets. So if you stick with a low-fat diet too long, then your skin doesn't receive, your skin, your brain, your nervous system don't receive all the needed fats for development there. And so that will age you ahead of your time. So also having good fats in there and essential fatty acids from, for example, we recommend supplementation with fish oils and krill oils, for example, in order to optimize the particular essential fatty acids that are hard to get. The EPA and DHA. These are very good for your skin, for your eyes, for your brain. So, and most of the time it needs to be supplemented unless you love to live on sardines. So, minerals also can interrupt the fluid balance in the skin. Insufficient intake of antioxidants from food or supplementation can make your skin look older too. Messing with your gut, having poor gut health and an unhealthy gut microbiome will mess up your skin. A lot of skin conditions are related to problems with the gut microbiome. So again, sometimes when we see people in our community that are suffering from skin conditions, whatever they may be seeking medical treatment. We still look to go internally alongside whatever other topical treatment they may be getting through their doctor. So we have some great blends of ingredients that work on the whole circulation, good for the hair, skin, nails, these sorts of things as well. So so that's just, I really do believe that supplementation has a big part to play. So that's mistake number 10. Mistake number 11 is messing with your sleep schedule. So having a bad night's sleep can certainly wreck your skin. Researchers took women, they actually looked at their skin after 8 hours of sleep. They took 30 women in the UK, looked at their skin and examined their skin, looked at the number of wrinkles, the pores, the brown spots, the blotchiness, and then they made them sleep only 6 hours per night for 5 nights in a row and tested their skin again. The researchers found the participants had double the number of fine lines and wrinkles, 3/4 more brown spots, and more dark circles under their eyes. And so the researchers really concluded that if sleep deprivation continued for weeks and weeks and weeks, then it would definitely worsen and maybe even create permanent changes to the skin. So sleep certainly gives our body time to heal, certainly gives our skin time to heal. It helps with the renewal, the elimination of toxins, all that sort of thing. So it certainly does make a difference. Mistake number 12 is sabotaging your skin with these chemicals that I sort of mentioned before, such as mineral oil and propylene glycol and all these sorts of things, but even more than that. So harmful ingredients. And it's not just sabotaging your skin, it can sabotage your health as well. So the sulfates, these are harsh, corrosive drying ingredients that you'll find in many cleansers, body washes, shampoos, even toothpastes. Okay, so, but obviously the toothpaste not going to be going on your skin usually, but all the other things are going over your skin. They can be aging and they can cause irritation, corrode the skin, lead to dryness over time, and even produce the fine lines and wrinkles. So things, if you check out, just go, have a look tonight. If you find something like sodium lauryl sulfate, sodium lauryl sulfate, these are the sulfates. These are the things that are very drying and aging to the skin. They're not the most toxic necessarily, except for sodium lauryl sulfate. We have a video on our page at the moment that's talking about the greenwashing that goes on, that many ingredients that contain many products that contain sodium lauryl sulfates, because they're ethoxylated. They have the ethylene oxide that's in there as well as the I shouldn't be going into it too deep there, but they can be loaded with a byproduct that you won't find on the label called 1,4-dioxane that is a carcinogenic impurity. And it's not on the label. So you have to be working with trusted brands that will strip that out intentionally, because it doesn't need to be on the label. It's not an ingredient that was intentionally put in there. It's a byproduct. So it will never be on the label, even if it's in there. And it's pretty shocking that this goes on. And that's why in the Savvy team, we only recommend and work with brands right across the board. But in this particular area, brands that work, that have a long history of safety and efficacy. Anyway, I digress. So DEA, TEA, MEA, these diethanolamines, monoethylamines, triethanolamines, these are ammonia compounds, and they have links to cancer, but they also dry the skin and hair. They can cause allergic reactions, redness, blotchiness, irritation, these sorts of things. So again, look on the label for DEA, TEA, MEA. You want to avoid mineral oil, for example, in there. That can form a film over the skin, clog the pores, all that sort of thing. So look, I went through 9 nasties in a free web class so you can reach out to us for that. But in essence, we are here to help you change to safer. And so we do have a free report that goes through many of these ingredients, okay? So it gives you some information on that, such as the coal tar dyes and the diethanolamine going into all of that sort of thing too, and the formaldehyde and lanolin and mineral oil, polyethylene glycols, all that sort of thing. So this is only 15 ingredients. Now, there are thousands that you really want to avoid, but these are some of the most prevalent. So ask us for that report. In fact, you can message the page. Let me just check. You can just ask below, but no, I think I'll just suggest that you message us and we can send it over to you, because we do have a now let me do that. Let me just go and check and I can tell you exactly what you should message us with for that particular report. I believe it's toxins. All you need to do is message us with toxins. It might be chemicals. What's the word? Toxins or chemicals, one of those words maybe. And it will have our bot send you over some information. So let me just check it out so that we know what you need to send. Drum roll, drum roll. Oh dear, now I can't even. Looks as though. Okay. Okay, so that's what I was confused about here. So if you message chemicals, you'll actually get our endocrine disrupting chemicals report. Okay, so that's from the World Health Organization, and that's actually worthwhile having a look at that. But that's dealing more with the internal sorts of things of disrupting your hormones. So I believe then if you sent us toxins, sent us the word toxins. Now, if you make a nice comment, we love you and all. We love to hear your comments. We love you to message us all the nice stuff, but it just won't work. So you'll need to just send the word toxins. Okay. So if you just send the word toxins, you'll be good to go. I think that's it. Maybe we'll have to see whether. Anyway, always comment below. Talk to us. We'll send it over to you. I just wanted to be able to get it to you as soon as possible, but turning out to be more complicated than it needed to be. Anyway, that was mistake number 12, which was sabotaging your skin and even your health. And so now we want to look at mistake number 13. And mistake number 13 is not combining science and nature. Not combining science and nature. So what on earth do I mean by this? Well, pictured here is like we've got natural things. A lot of people say, look, if you won't eat it, then don't put it on your skin. Well, that's all very well, but our digestive processes are very different to our skin. So, I mean, I get where they're coming from, saying we don't want chemicals because our skin is a carrier, not a barrier. And so what they're alluding to is you don't want to put nasty chemicals on the skin because they'll get into the body. But if we're talking about slowing aging, looking our best and everything, our skin doesn't have digestive enzymes. Our skin can't chew what you put on it and get the nutrition to absorb it into the skin and utilize it. So any of your avocado masks and everything, or your oatmeal rubs and all that, it's all good, but it's just looking after the surface of the skin. It's not dealing with any of the underlying areas of the skin. It's not helping with your anti-aging regime. It's all well and good, but not, again, we've got to combine science and nature. We've got to package natural ingredients with scientific delivery systems to get them to where they need to go to be able to slow the aging process. Okay, so that's this particular mistake. And so what I'd like to do is just go through a touch of information here to give you an example of that. So have you ever thought about what changes between a young baby with plump, soft skin to when you have the mature skin and the wrinkles form and it dries out, for example? So what has happened there? Well, science has uncovered that the two molecules responsible for that whole process is hyaluronic acid and collagen. So hyaluronic acid is responsible for the moisture retention in the skin of a baby. And collagen is responsible for the tightness and the firmness and the elasticity of our skin. And so the challenge is that if we look at hyaluronic acid being the blue line, it unfortunately decreases consistently since we're born. It just keeps going down. And whereas in the beginning of our life, collagen synthesis is increasing until our 20s, and then it's a downhill slide from there. So, from your 30s, for example, both collagen and hyaluronic acid are definitely on the downhill run, and maybe that's when you first started seeing some noticeable changes in your skin. So we utilize technology that is like drinkable technology, so you can drink your skincare, that increases the hyaluronic acid by 6,000% within 28 days. And this is so clinically studied technology, and this is proven in the clinical trials. Also reducing the enzyme called hyaluronidase that can make your skin age. They found a reduction in dryness without the use of topical moisturizers. In fact, 92% of people experienced increased skin hydration. 65% of people in studies experienced firmer and softer skin. So in other words, most people experience a benefit. Now, the reason I'm wanting to mention this to you right now, and we're talking about combining science and nature, is that this is based on a specific form of collagen that has been then bio-optimized for absorbability. So we're big fans here, and we have a free web class on collagen, 5 ways to boost it and slow aging. And so you can look out for that. And we talk about the fact that, for example, bone broths and collagen supplements, collagen powders, these are all great. We've believed in them. We've been talking about the importance of having these for decades, recommending the collagen in the way of bone broths and everything being healing for the gut and supplying your body with all of the micronutrients to rebuild your own collagen, all this sort of stuff. That's great. But none of that is proven to increase your skin hydration within 28 days. That's all very natural and all very important and everything, but it's only by combining science and nature that we can get these sorts of ingredients to the levels that in the skin where it actually has a quick result. So that's why I'm saying this mistake number 13 is not combining science and nature, really.
Beauty begins on the inside, but over time, sun exposure, pollution, and stress.
You got that from? Where did that come from? What video was I sharing with you right then? All right. So a lot of this is covered in our 10 years younger challenge. This is just some examples of the results before and after of people taking the challenge. So what you're going to expect when you go through the challenge is brighter, even when you go through the 10 years younger challenge is brighter, more even skin tone, the diminished appearance of lines and wrinkles, improved radiance in your skin, improved elasticity, improved skin texture. And I won't go through all sorts of incredible before and after results that we have seen with people. But I'll just give you an example of just some of the recent results that we've seen from people. For example, tightening up that neck and reducing the scarring. This was one particular person who said, I had thyroid surgery sometime back, left quite a scar. 30 days later is the second pick. Not only did the scar diminish, but the texture and tightness of my skin really improved. So then another person wrote in that there's not too many men's testimonials here. And so my husband began on this particular collagen hyaluronic acid solution actually for for plantar fasciitis, and yet his hair was starting to regrow just 8 weeks apart, the pictures here. And then here again, more skin improvement. Kelly saying that she started on it just again for internal benefits, but is noticing significant reduction in the deepness of the furrows in her brow, and again the nasolabial folds that we talked about. Again, so all of those signs of aging we mentioned before, we're seeing reduced. So how do you optimize your results looking at all of those things? Well, reduce chemicals for sure. Proper skincare regimen. Look at the 13 tips. Eat a whole food diet, optimizing good fats, for example. There are some tactics that can activate the self-cleaning mechanisms in your body called autophagy, and we want to do that. Optimal nutrition supplementation. Nurturing your gut, doing periodical detoxes will really improve how your skin looks. Proper hydration, restful sleep, and you can even do facial exercises. I don't know, we can't promise anything, but maybe if you're feeling a little bit like a beat up old classic that really has some underlying value, it's worthwhile rejuvenating yourself so you look shiny and new again. So look, I love this quote from an actual makeup artist saying that glowing skin is the result of proper skin care. And it means you can actually wear less makeup and let your natural skin shine through. So look, if you do have any questions about this, again, just ask. But again, as I said before, we went through this in depth in a free online class that was on the skincare tips and how to slow the signs of aging, and that is in our private Healthy, Wealthy, Wise group. So just request an invitation to that. All right, so that is the end of our healthy section, a bumper session again today. Whew. I did not think that we were going to really delve into it quite as much, but that's all the digressions that that I just have to share with you. Hey, I've got to share this and that, but great tips. I hope you found some of those really helpful in terms of understanding the benefits, not that some of the benefits aren't just skin deep. All right, so what we wanted to do now is jump on into the wealthy. So if you have just recently joined us here for the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show, it's Corey Sievers here. I'm your host for the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show. Congratulations on joining us. We're jumping on into the wealthy segment here now. And in wealthy, we're going to be dealing with 10 secrets of success from 5 self-made billionaires. So we're going to delve into their story, just to learn a little bit about the sorts of things that really made a difference for them. So I think you'll find this quite valuable. All right, so what are these 10 secrets for success from these 5 self-made billionaires? Are you ready for who the billionaires are? Drum roll. Insert drum roll sound here. The billionaires we're going to hear tips from: Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Richard Branson, and Jean-Paul Dejouria. Now, you may not have heard of Jean-Paul, but we'll be telling you some tips from him. So, the first tip is from Richard Branson, and he suggests to dream big. So Branson says that dreaming is one of humanity's greatest gifts. He said in an interview, it champions aspirations, spurs innovation, leads to change, and propels the world forward. He said, in a world without dreams, there would be no art. There'd be no adventure, no moon landing, no female CEOs, no civil rights. What a half-lived and tragic existence we would have had if no one decided to dream big. He said the benefits of dreaming far outweigh the perceived risks, because the value of dreaming isn't just measured by the outcome, but by the inspiration that comes from the journey of achieving the dream. And that whole journey and the experiences that are lived along the way. So the question here in Dream Big here, what dreams have you been suppressing? How have you been devaluing your dreams or lowering your standards? Are you ready to go for it and open up? Branson believes that it's worth it, and you're worth it too. So that's number 1, dream big. Number 2 is from Mark Zuckerberg. And he suggests to be willing to make big bets. So when Facebook launched the news feature, the whole news feed feature, everybody's addicted to the news feed now, in 2006, believe it or not, there were protests. And people were so upset wanting it to return to the way it was, where you would just look at profiles. And there wasn't a feed. It wasn't all brought into a feed. So bring it back to the way it was. But that's like that in a lot of things. People want it back to the way it used to be, And that's sort of against what Branson just said. Dream big, there'd be no innovation, no growth, no moving forward. So Zuckerberg said that one of the things I'm most proud about related to Facebook is that we believe things can always be better. And we're willing to make big bets, and if we think it will help our community over the long term. He says the news feed has been one of the big bets that we've made in the past 10 years that has shaped our community and the whole internet. And that would be true too. So be willing to make big bets. The next tip, is another one from Richard Branson, and it's to love the journey. Okay, love the journey. So under his umbrella company, Virgin Group, Branson has more than 60 businesses. But having scores of different businesses doesn't make it any easier when you have to close one down for one reason or another, or you have to sell one for one reason or another. And that happens in any business endeavor. So he says that you simply have to make sure that you enjoy the ride and love the journey. He said, many years ago, I shed tears over having to sell my beloved Virgin Records label for $1 billion. Even though we got $1 billion for it was something that he was letting go of, okay? And so he said recently about the closing of Virgin American brand that, that it was the ride and love of a lifetime. He said, I'm very lucky to have been with all of you, and he had to focus on, because the disappointment was there about the way it all happened, and so he just switched his focus to the journey and what a ride it was and the enjoyment that he had in that. So his message upon closing the airline leaves us with 3 life lessons. Number 1, love the journey. Number 2, know when to fold 'em. You know, the Kenny Rogers song, old Kenny Rogers song. So know when to fold 'em. And number 3, he said, stay positive because attitude is everything. So number 3, the lesson there is enjoy the journey, love the journey, from Richard Branson. Number 4 is to obsess over the details, from Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs had a reputation of being ruthless, and some say that it was his obsession with perfection. Okay, and so, the challenge here is that many of you, like, certainly Steve didn't stop until it was perfect. But he would go for it and then still look to create perfection. So many of you are stopped waiting till you're perfect before you even get underway. That's not the lesson that we can learn from Steve Jobs. But we can obsess over the details and constant and never-ending improvement. That's certainly what Steve Jobs was big about. So he's, so Kara Swisher, who was the executive editor of Recode, said that people, in an article where she was writing this, people used to say that he was heartless. Oh no, that's right. She was talking to Tim Ferriss on his podcast. And she said, I see it differently. I think that he had a lot of heart. He cared so much. He had so much heart that he just couldn't stand it when things just weren't right. And he would strive to make things right. So the lesson here, I think, is certainly to obsess over the details, but don't get stuck and stopped by things being perfect, by being by perfection. The mantra that I have here is version 1 is better than version none. Launch it and then go into the constant and never-ending improvement. Okay, so certainly that whole philosophy of never-ending growth, constant and never-ending improvement, it grows people and it grows companies. There's no doubt about that. So what do you need to do to grow yourself? Where do you need to improve? What details could you be a little bit more obsessed over without stopping you from taking action? So lesson number 5 here is from Mark Zuckerberg, and he said to apologize quickly when you mess up. So after emotionally sensitive user content was automatically removed by the Facebook content regulation algorithm, Zuckerberg came out and publicly apologized for the trumping of the whole free speech issue. And so afterwards, leadership experts said that his quick apology certainly increased his credibility. So apologize quickly when you mess up. That's something that we can learn from Zuckerberg. Number 6 is to seek out simple solutions. And this one's from Bill Gates. So Gates said the barrier to change is not too little caring, but too much complexity. When things just get too complex that you're stopped and you can't make the changes. Okay, so to turn caring into action, we need to be able to see the problem, see a solution, and see the impact that would happen by making the change. And he said that complexity blocks these things. It blocks our ability to see things. So, and he was saying this at a Harvard commencement address. So, the thing is there a simple solution here to something that's troubling you or troubling you in business or in your work or in your health or in your family life or whatever? Is there something simple that you could take action on that you're simply trying to, not look at? So sometimes the simplest solution is right there in front of you, and it's just about taking action on that, and you'll be able to find the next step from there. Okay? Number 7, focus is everything, and this is one from Steve Jobs. Apple CEO Tim Cook said of Steve, he had a focus that was unlike any other. What allowed the legendary CEO of Apple to focus so inherently was his ability to prioritize, said Cook. His thinking was so pure. He wasn't trying to maximize his wealth or get the self-aggrandizement and everything. He was really just being focused on getting the job done, perfectionism there, and he was excellent at prioritizing. And so when we look at the whole story of Apple, they had to clear the decks. When he came back into Apple, they had to clear the decks and stop doing printers, stop making this, stop making that for the time being, and focus on getting good at a few specific products, really perfecting those. And then can we agree that they then exploded that to all sorts of different things, inventing iTunes and the App Store and the iPhone and the iPad and everything else. But to begin with, it was getting focused and prioritizing, okay? And so many of you are probably trying to do too many different things, and not just getting focused and maximizing it and really driving in as deep as you can. So there we lesson there from Steve Jobs. Focus is everything. Number 8. Now, number 8 is from Jean-Paul DeJoria. And he's maybe a billionaire that you may not have heard of, but he suggests to be in a business with repeat customers, which is something that I've always agreed on. Okay, so especially if you can be in a business where things are consumable, which is the business that DeJoria is in. So he is the co-founder of Paul Mitchell Hair Products and Patron Tequila. So he's a billionaire now, but early on in his life, he had a lot of struggles, was, homeless, was collecting cans for money, all these sorts of things. So a tequila brand, a hair care brand. And he says, his best advice for entrepreneurs is to build a business in an industry that doesn't require endless persuading of buyers to come back and come back and come back. He says, instead, seek out products and services that will become part of your customer's routine. So part of their everyday consumption. And that's one of the things through our Savvy Home Business division that we teach people to do. So to really help people in the wellness industry so that they can really derive an income stream from helping people to find safer alternatives to everyday products. And that means that every time someone's cleaning their teeth, every time someone's using nutritional products, every time someone's, sharing with their friends and everything, there's a certain degree, there's income that can be generated. So powerful to understand that. And obviously DeJoria is in the hair care market making not so safe products. They're less than safe, shall we say, but still he became a billionaire because people buy those sorts of things. We're just hoping that you'll change to safer. Anyway, so that's what his advice is. He says you don't want to be in the selling business. You want to be in the reorder business. You want to help people to access products and then be able to reorder them. Your product or service is so good that people will reorder it and reuse it. That's what he said. So launch a business in an industry or launch or become involved in a business that is in a reorder type of business. Number 9 is from Branson, and he says, be yourself. Okay, Branson has 4 grandchildren, and he said, "I've been thinking a lot of the meaning of life as he's been playing with them and looking after them and everything, and what he would teach them about life." Um, and he says that it kept for him what kept coming back to him was the quote from Dr. Seuss's "Happy Birthday to You" book. So it says there, "Today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you." And so since Branson suffers from dyslexia, a bit of for those of you who struggle with learning difficulties and all that sort of thing, understand that that's been his struggle all his life. And so he had to learn to embrace his uniqueness rather than allow it to be an impediment. He says, yourself is always the best version of you. And being yourself is among the best advice I have ever received. So there you have it. So no one is youer than you. So be you to the best of your ability. And that's why in the Savvy Team we encourage you to do what we call a SWOT analysis, which is the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis, to really look at what unique combination of abilities that you have. And stop looking left and right at what everyone else is doing, and be the best you can be. No one is youer than you. And number 10 is from Bill Gates, and that's to give back. To always be willing to contribute and give. And so certainly he's gone on to start the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and and encourage others to join what's called the Giving Pledge, where wealthy people actually donate much of their fortune and all those sorts of things. And so certainly, he's a big proponent of that. And you might go, yeah, but that's all very well for him. That's a tax write-off for him and all that sort of thing. And that's true. That's true. These foundations and everything can be tax advantaged for wealthy individuals, but nevertheless, the principle is still true, that what you give comes back to you multiplied. So where can you give? Can you give time? Can you give contribution? Can you give of yourself in some way? There are lots of ways to give, and it's a universal law that the more you give, the more will come back. So number 10 is give back. So where can you give more of yourself? So there you have it. That is the 10 secrets for success from 10 secrets of success from 5 self-made billionaires. We'd love to know your comments, so let us know whether you found some of those helpful, whether you believe in them, whether there's some that you disagree with. Love to hear your thoughts. Let's jump on into Wise now, and we're going to be talking about goal setting, 13 tips for smart goals. Now, in this particular session, I'm not going to really be delving into this too much in depth, because we actually have a blog post on this. So just let me see where we're going here. So if you have just joined us recently, we are talking about Wise here on the Healthy Wealthy Wise show. It's Corey Sievers here, and we're going through 13 tips for smart goals. And we actually have this on our blog, on the Healthy Wealthy Wise blog, so you can certainly check that out for more details. But it's interesting that there's no doubt when we're talking about goals that those who have goals and write them down definitely achieve more in life. And so there's lots of studies that have shown that sometimes they believe that it's the accountability, sometimes it's the commitment, sometimes it's just the act of clarification and writing it down that makes the big difference as such. But some report that it's those who report their weekly progress updates also to someone else using the process of accountability experienced significantly higher outcomes. Those who make a commitment sort of publicly sometimes experience better results. But no doubt those who make a commitment, those who write it down, those who become accountable move ahead in leaps and bounds. So, as far as accountability and everything, that doesn't necessarily mean that you share your goals with anyone, especially those who may pull you down. That's one of the things about goals. Often we can share them willy-nilly with anyone rather than only sharing with those who can actually support us. And so, really, it's obviously very important to set goals. Many people think that, well, it's too complicated. What do I do? I don't know how. And that's some of the things. Why don't people set goals? They don't know how. They don't understand the importance. It's really the fundamentals there, or it's just getting over yourself. So whatever it is, write it down. Think about what you'd like to achieve. Write it down. So now here are some tips. Number 1, focus on what you really want. Focus on what you actually really want, not what you think people want, not what others are telling you should do. So focus on what you really want, something that's emotional, something that tugs on your heartstrings, something that really inspires you. Number 2, write it down. Write it down. There's just something that happens when you commit it to paper. And many experts believe that even though we're in a digital realm, writing it down does not mean entering it into your mobile device, typing it in. There's something about the activation of the brain when we write it down. So plan them out. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So plan them out. Have ideas, mind map things. Look at what you can do to think, well, if I did this, I could do this, and just do the best you can to plan it out. But be open for serendipity. Be open for happy accidents to come along the way that can take you off and actually have you, enjoy the journey more, or bring along things that you weren't expecting. Number 4, support your achievement with accountability. Okay, so really focus on having somebody that you can bounce off, whether it's an accountability partner, whether it's some sort of a support person in whatever business that you're working in, or your job situation, or your whatever endeavor that you're in. Work with others so that you can actually support that achievement with accountability. So really good tip there. Number 5 is believe. Believe. Is it believable by you? Believable by you? Are you able to believe in it? Is it something that's not so far out that you can't believe that it's possible for you? Now, dreaming big is all very good and all, but if you set the goal so far out there that you just can't ever even believe it, then that's not going to help you achieve it. Okay, so it's true that we can stretch ourselves and we can surprise ourselves, but certainly, especially if you're new to setting goals, you want to go easy on yourself and not stress yourself out, overwhelm yourself by setting something that you just can't believe in. Number 6 is articulate them clearly. Get really clear. Can you describe it? Can you visualize it? Can you feel it? Can you imagine yourself actually living it? So those sorts of things really important. And that's why we make suggestions like, if it's a car, go and sit in it and see whether you can really get the feeling, the visual cues, the smell, all of those sorts of things. If it's a house, go look at ideas, cut things out, save pictures, put together a Pinterest board or a Trello board or whatever with all of your ideas on what you'd like, and sort of try to create the culmination of everything together. Articulate what you want clearly and get specific. It's a sort of an extension of articulating it clearly because you can get much more specific. Now, if you want some homework for get specific, an old movie called Bedazzled, not the really old one, although I don't know, it might be good, but the one Liz Hurley and can't remember his name, but Bedazzled. Fantastic movie about getting specific. And so, you'll get the idea that what happens is he got all of his wishes in this. This is, the story goes that this guy meets the devil and the devil gives him wishes. and then the devil intentionally messes them all up. Every single one, he said, this is what I want. And every single one you could see that he got what he wanted, but he wasn't specific. So it's time for you to get really specific. Number 8 is make them measurable. There's no use saying, I'd like more money. And so you find 20 cents on the ground and you now have more money. Okay, it's not specific, and it's not measurable. So get really specific about that. Make it measurable, and so like time bound. That's what SMART goals are about. Make it like, I want this much by this date. Now, you don't want to be attached to the outcome, but making it measurable is so important. Okay. And by the way, this is one of the big things of if you're in business and you're looking at tactics for measuring things, this is a big thing in the 4 disciplines of execution by the Franklin Covey organization. They talk about the fact that we need to focus on lead measures, things that lead us to the accomplishment of the goal. And we need to set measurements in place for those things, the actions that you can actually take that lead to the accomplishment of the goal. And so one of the examples in business that they shared was a water production plant that they got the team together and they said, right, we want to up our production for the year. So how do we do that? What should we focus on? Well, if we want to improve our annual production, let's improve our monthly production. No. Let's improve our weekly production. No. Let's improve our daily production. No. That's what they call a lag measure. It happens later. It's too hard to measure it daily. What they came up with was simply full shifts, having people in the plant, like not having anyone away. And that made a huge difference to the overall turnover. So there's something that you can measure each and every day that will lead to you getting better results in your business and your life. Make it measurable and measure it. That which is measured improves. That's another thing for you there. So that's why even in all our weight loss programs here in the Savvy team, for example, many people say, don't weigh, don't measure, just trust that it all happened, follow the process. But the principle is that which is measured improves. It brings it to your consciousness and it's in your mind and you're more likely to do something about it. So number 9 is focus on the short and the long term. Don't just set yourself what I'm going to do this week, and don't just set yourself a 10-year plan. Break it down. We want to have short and long-term targets along the way so that we can know where we're headed, but we can have milestones along the way. Number 10, make the commitment. Okay, commit to it. This must be something that really, that you really want, that you can actually commit to, that you're willing to set time aside for. Because, look up the whole principle of the commitment there. And we have different articles that we've written on commitment. Love the whole bit of prose by William Hutchison Murray, the Until One is Committed. And maybe I'll share that with you at some particular point in time. But really, really powerful example of commitment. So what are you not making commitment towards? What are you dilly-dallying on? What are you sort of like hesitant on? Now's the time. Make the commitment. I'll give you a bit of the prose there from William Hutchison Murray. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, always ineffectiveness. Now I can't remember it. But until one is committed, there is hesitancy. The chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. And just that first part really gets me thinking that unless you're committed, you're going to always be ineffective and you're going to hesitate. And so it goes on to say that there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless plans and all that sort of thing. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. So the moment that you commit yourself and actually make the commitment, all manner of unforeseen support will come your way. Some might say through the law of attraction or whatever, but it's there for you. But you have to make the commitment. You have to make that decision. So number 11 is make your goals congruent and linked. So, sometimes people they set goals that I want to do this and I want to do that. And when you look at it, it's diametrically opposed. This month I want to grow my business by 10%. Oh, but I've got 3.5 weeks holiday by the beach and I don't have any intention of being online. In actual fact, I have no Wi-Fi. All right, great. So it's a hope, not a goal, because you had no intention on doing anything towards it. Okay, so make them congruent, make your goals congruent, and sort of make sure that they link up and cross-link with each other. Number 12 is be careful with overwhelm. Be careful with overwhelm. Sometimes what we can do is we can put so much on our plate that nothing gets done. Okay, so when you're setting goals, make sure you prioritize the goals. As we dealt with, in the wealthy side of the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show there, the prioritized session there. Prioritize. Be careful with overwhelm. Sometimes we really can throw so much on our plate that nothing gets done. So really, really important there. And number 13 is to be flexible. Things happen along the way. Don't be so pedantic about your plan that you can't enjoy the journey or that you can't take a serendipitous side road that actually leads to a better result than you ever dreamed possible. Sometimes you just gotta go with the flow. Sometimes you just gotta be a little bit more flexible. So that was wise and the 13 tips for really helping you with your goal setting and setting smart goals. So again, we'd love to know your thoughts and comments. Just let us know. Let us know what you'd like to know more about. So that's it for this particular Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show. Great that you could be with us. And we look forward to catching up with you again. So I don't know whether there's been anything in particular. No, it wasn't Hugh Grant, but good guess. Anyway, we can Google it. That's what it's there for. So a good guess though, Kerry. Okay. I think that is it for our Healthy, Wealthy, Wise session, bumper session. This particular session. So look, we believe related to certainly being healthy, wealthy, and wise for your best wellness journey, especially, you need a plan, you need some solutions, you need guidance, and you need community. So look, if there's something that you're struggling with related to your health, related to overall your holistic well-being, then certainly tap in with our community. We can guide you to that next level. So I would encourage you to actually fill out our How Can We Help survey. That can really help us to know what sort of things that you're looking for. But otherwise, hey, jump on in our groups, leave some comments here, and we'll be glad to point you in the right direction. And certainly, you can check out our blog at savvy-team.com or -team.com/HWW, but we'll link it up so that you have access to that and the article on the 13 tips for goal setting. So look, thanks for joining the show. It's been great having you and good to be back with the show. And so looking forward to talking with you again. So it's Corey Sievers here with the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show. Until we meet again, I'm encouraging you to be savvy. So all the best, and we'll catch you again next time round. So see ya.